And we're live. All right.
Hello, everyone.
Hey guys, I know this is a new face. You've never seen me here, which is a good thing, right? My name is Rafael Mavi. I'm actually a friend of Ella's, and I've been working with Ella for the past, I would say, about 10 months or so. And the reason why I actually wanted to do this live with Ella today, especially during a time like this when everybody's freaking out, they don't know what to do, and it's not just now, it's always been like this, where money is a top priority in front of, in the people's heads, because money may not buy you happiness directly, but it's always there, because if you don't have it, you're screwed pretty much. It's like oxygen, we need it, right?
Yeah.
And Ella, I know, is the expert. I've known Ella for about 3 years already, almost 3 years. And what I always say to people when they ask me, like, what's different about Ella's service in comparison to other financial experts and tax strategists, I always say, I'm like, you can pay anybody to do your taxes. The question is, what type of value are you getting in return? And by observing Ella's operation, and I'm not saying it because she's here, I've always said it, if you could talk to anybody that I know, that's the answer they get. You get white glove service. That's pretty much it. You get white glove service. You get an all-around encompassing consultation, not just where you give your information and then the taxes and finance are prepared for you, but there's a major educational component where she is passionate about educating her clients, but also people that are not doing business with her yet. And you don't have to take my words for it. This is evident in all of her digital footprints, because you can see it. The timelines are filled with videos over the last 2-3 years, video content, graphical content, text content, all that good stuff. So we're aware that a lot of this is going to be seen after the fact, after the live is over. But the reason why we wanted to do this, because we have a whole bunch of questions that Ella has been receiving from her existing clients, but also we're hearing talk, right, especially right now, as far as what to do, whether you're a small business owner, whether you're working for yourself with no employees, or you have 5, 10, 50 employees, or even if you're working for somebody else, if you're a W-2 employee, you have questions. There's a lot of uncertainty right now as far as what's going to happen with my job, what's going to happen with my 401, what's going to happen with the unemployment, what do I do? If you're a business owner, thought things like, do I close my business? Business is slow, or do I slow down? How do I do this? There's talk about, every day you have press conferences from the White House with all different types of information. So we compiled the most pressing, the top questions from people. We want to address them, and there's nobody better to address that than a financial expert herself. So Ella.
Well, thank you for the great introduction, and thank you for being here with me today.
Of course. And I want to dive right into it. And by the way, guys, if you have any questions, I would encourage you to ask those questions in the comments below. And I promise you we're going to address those questions once this live is over. So first question is for the business owners.
Yes.
This is probably the most pressing question for business owners right now. Who qualifies? And I want to set this question up because I personally know a lot of business owners that have qualified for the business loans after Sandy, the Hurricane Sandy, but they never got it. The process was just so long and they lost faith in the government. So is there a right way to do it? Is there the wrong way to do it? And what's the information, what's the latest, like, as far as who qualifies for a business loan?
Okay, well, it's a great question. So to start with, the government is giving, as of since everything is changing so rapidly, as of yesterday when I was putting all this together, the government was giving out up to $8 billion. And again, everything is changes on a daily basis. It's all changes on hourly basis. If you need any more of the in details information, you can of course reach us, reach me directly, or you can go to the sba.gov website. As of right now, they're giving away up to $8 billion. There's as of this morning, there were 22 states that qualify for the SBA loan. This is a small business administration loans, and they're giving away up to $2 million per business. So who qualifies is the business who been affected directly by the coronavirus. So again, there is no like specific at this moment specific qualification directions. So my advice is to go to register, to start the application process, because the sooner you start, the sooner you can actually get your feet in there and start applying and getting the money. The businesses like the restaurants, all the businesses are closed right now. The businesses that the department stores, the small bars, the whoever is closed because of the effect or because of the mandatory the effect that they need to be closed, so they can all apply. You mentioned what is the process. So the process is that there is application. The application, they go to sba.gov. There's a tab for the COVID-19 virus, so they can click in there, and then it's gonna take you to register. So you set up the user ID, you register, and then you just go and download the application and all the requirements. Yes, as you mentioned, listen, with any kind of loan, there is a process.
Right.
It doesn't matter what kind of loan you take. There is a process that you have to go through, and it's a painful process. I mean, I'm pretty sure you remember when you purchased your house, you went through the mortgage. It was a painful process, but at the end of the day, it's all worth it. So at the end of the day, the bottom line, the result you after is to get this financial assistance, to get this loan. So you have to fill out, basically the whole process will be as going through the mortgage. You have to fill up the whole application. You need the tax returns. If it's a corporation, all the corporate tax return has to be filed. You need personal returns. They all have to be filed.
Are they filed. The last 12 months or 2 years?
I didn't start the process. I'm actually starting it right now for my clients already. They definitely for the last year. For the current year, and then if the year wasn't filed yet, they will ask for the financial statements. They will ask for the interim, for the current financial statements. They're asking for the personal financial statements. Mm-hmm. For the personal income taxes, they will be asking for the personal debt schedules. Again, this is a government loan. And the loan will be, the collateral will go with the business, so they will put a lien on the business, and they will most likely put a lien on the personal as well, because it's a government money. They just need to make sure that the loan will be paid.
Is the interest rate flexible, or do you have any idea?
I mean, what I know from the source that, from what I read, the interest is 3.75%, and if it's a non-for-profit, it's 2.75%, and it can be repaid up to 30 years. But then again, they're giving up to $2 million per business, so you can get up to $2 million, but you can get less. So it all depends on individual basis.
So what if I'm a business that is not directly affected by corona, at least not so much? So let's say my employees are happy that we're still working, but can I take advantage of the loan towards other business expenses in regards to this whole corona situation?
Well, if you affected, then yes. If your sales been affected, then, because again, why they're asking for the financials, because they're gonna look at like where your business was before and where you now. If your sales were affected, if your business has dropped, then yes,
so they want even up to like last minute. We're talking about last 2-3 weeks of
yes,
sales.
Yes,
that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, great.
So, and then again, just as you mentioned, listen, there's no guarantee will you get it or not. But in my opinion, if it's available, yes, the process is long. The process might be painful, but I know people who getting, I mean, not right now, because right now it's all new, but this is not something that just recently, like this kind of virus, yes, this is something that recently happened. But if you go through the business cycles, and I've been in the business over 23 years, all the cycles, when it's up, there's a cycle that go down. And there was a lot of cycles that I've been through. We've been through the Sandy, we've been through 2008 crash, we've been through a lot. And with all the cycles, whenever there is a disaster, the government giving this SBA loans, and people, yes, do get them. And it's a great way. If you can get cheap money, why not take advantage of that? Why not actually take this money to keep your business sustained? If you can keep it sustained and you don't need it, but then you can actually take advantage of that and leverage this money. So I think it's a great, actually.
I agree with you. It's cheap money, and it can be utilized towards anything to grow the business.
Exactly. You can invest, you can reinvest, you can actually come up with different ideas and introduce something else. Even like if you were thinking of getting an equipment or something. So it's a great way actually to use these funds.
Okay. So we're gonna go through some questions in regards to business ownership, and then we're gonna switch to individual finance and tax related questions as well that have to do with the current times. So the next question I have for you is the unemployment process. I know I don't know a lot, but I do know of a handful of companies where they're advising their staff to go and file for unemployment until further notice, because they don't know when they will be able to reopen. And I'm not just talking about a small local business. I'm talking about like major hotel chains as well.
All right. Well, yes, and actually this week, starting Monday, we've been receiving a lot of phone calls in terms of what's happening with the unemployment. So if you as the employer don't have currently the work because you closed and you cannot employ your employees, they can go and collect the unemployment benefits. The unemployment, again, I'm talking about New York State currently, because every state has its own requirements. The New York State, as of yesterday, they again, my information as of yesterday, they have actually waived the 7-day waiting period, meaning that if you apply, then you don't have to wait, you can collect the benefits right away. So, and if you currently with all this that is going on, it's uncertain, so you letting your employees to go collect unemployment, and then once you reopen, you want to rehire them, you can absolutely do that.
Okay, awesome.
However, another thing to keep in mind, because that was another phone calls and questions that I had. Unfortunately, if you're self-employed individual, you can collect unemployment benefits. If you're self-employed, if you were subcontractor, if you own your corporation, and even though you were receiving a salary from your corporation, you cannot collect unless you close that company. So if you close the company, then you can apply for the unemployment benefits.
You're talking about physically close the location or close the company?
The corporation. Physically closing the corporation.
Wow.
Because if you owner of your own business, and we're talking about the corporation, even if you were paying yourself a W-2 as a salary, yes, you can collect the benefits based on the salary, but not based on the fact that you are still the owner of that business. So the only way for you to collect is actually to go through the whole process to close the corporation, and
that's the worst case situation.
That's the worst case situation,
you also
right?
addressed, the next question, which I don't have to ask anymore, which is for 1099 for self-employed individuals.
Right.
They're not, even if you're working full-time for somebody, we're talking about, it could be hairdressers, it could be physical therapists, it could be anybody, but if they're getting paid in the way of 1099 from an employer, they're not qualified for unemployment.
Right, but let me just make clarification on that. So let's say you said like physical therapist. So let's say the physical therapist works in the office, in one office where he receives a W-2. And then also he has other offices where he is self-employed and he works as a subcontractor. So he can collect the unemployment. So he is out of the job. He doesn't work anywhere. In all 3 locations, he's not working, so he can actually apply for the unemployment and from where he received W-2, right? But if he was only
based on that salary,
exactly,
correct,
right?
So based 1099 salary is not going to be taken into consideration.
That's right.
He's self-employed.
Because he's self-employed.
That makes perfect sense.
Right.
But that's nothing new, though. It's always been like that.
It's always been like that,
people
right?
Still ask.
Well, people still ask, and I mean, especially like in this kind of situation, when you lose your financial security and there is no income coming in, then people start actually thinking, okay, like what benefits I can receive, and then of course the unemployment this is what's available.
Okay, that makes perfect sense though. Okay, Now, let's switch over to individual questions. Due dates for business and also for personal, because we have been getting information from the White House, like they want to extend it to 90 days, and I know that it's not applicable towards everyone, right? So who does it affect in a good way for business and personal? So let's handle the business first and then the personal.
Okay, yes, that's a great question. And let me actually just make a correction on that. So the tax returns still have to be filed by April 15. They didn't extend the deadline for the tax filing. Okay. So the tax filing, the corporate filing we just passed, it was March 16. So the personal tax return and then for the corporation, it's due April 15th. So personal deadlines were not extended. However, what the Congress passed is they give a 90 days extension if you owe taxes.
To make the payment.
To make the payment.
Okay, so to file April 15th is still
That's
the
right.
date.
Yes.
Got it.
Right. So you're still filing by April 15, but then if you do have a payment, then you have 90 days to pay, no interest
penalties.
And no penalties. Yes.
That's for individuals.
That's for the individuals, and they're doing the same thing for the corporation. And the corporation, there is a limit. I mean, I don't think any of, if someone has, I believe it's up to 1 million in taxes, it can be postponed for 19 days.
Got it. Okay. Also, question in regards to financial relief funds for individuals.
Yes. Okay. Well, there's a lot of. I do have.
Again, this is based on what they're hearing from
right,
the media.
Right.
Okay.
And this is. I do actually. Clients still coming in, still calling in, and asking all the questions. So there's been a lot of information going on. They're thinking of a lot of different things. They were thinking about the payroll tax cuts. Then they were thinking of giving the money. So as of right now, nothing is certain. There was a bill that passed the House, but not the Senate yet, that they want to give immediately. And this is what they were talking today in press conference, that they want to give the money immediately to the people.
Is everyone qualified?
Well, it's qualified. I'm not sure what would be the criteria, who will be qualified. Again, what I hear is that they want this is an economic stimulus package, right. So they want to give money to people right away. So again, people can start using them. Not sure yet, again, who qualifies, what are criteria, but they are talking about it, giving it $2,000, or maybe 2 payments of $1,000 each. So, but there is nothing certain, or nothing had been, as of what I know right now, I haven't been passed yet. But they are working on it, and actually they're working on the packages as far as the sick leave for the people who were actually affected and got sick. There's packages for that as well. But again, it's all uncertain yet. They are working on this.
Okay. So here's another. Those are the most pressing questions that we've been getting, she's been getting, and I've been hearing. But I would like for you to go over this, and this. What I want to ask you is this. This is applicable, what I'm about to tell you, anytime. It doesn't matter whether it's a downtime or a great time. Unfortunately, and I've heard this saying a long time ago, that we don't worry about the bad days while we're having the great days. And I think it's human condition. And oftentimes we have to be reminded, unfortunately, of a bad day in order to start thinking of the bad day. In reality, especially when it comes to finances, in reality, is it a good idea to plan for the bad day during a bad day? Yes. But it's even a better idea, great idea, to plan for those days while you're still having the good days.
That's right.
So in a time like this right now, a lot of people are still sitting on a lot of cash, because we just, up until 3 weeks ago, we were having the best economy in the history of US.
Yes.
Right? Regardless of your political beliefs, regardless of where you stand on this, numbers talk. That's all that matters.
Yes.
Whether it was hyperinflated, whether it was all hype, whether it was a lot of whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, numbers talk, right? And the question I have for you right now, especially as a finance strategist, what would you advise people to do, especially those that are looking at the stock market? I personally have been looking at the stock market yesterday, this morning, and it's like yesterday people were tempted to buy certain stocks because it was down 350%. They woke up this morning and it's down additional 200%. Like, is it a good time to buy now, or should they wait? As far as stock market, real estate is still high, right? And also financial strategy, especially for families that have kids. What are the best steps to be taken right now during a time like this?
Okay, well, these are all great questions. So,
That's a lot of questions.
yeah, it's a lot of questions in one question. So let me try to address them all as we go. As far as the stock market, again, I'm not a stockbroker. I'm not a financial advisor. But me personally, strategy-wise, I guess with whatever is going on, I would personally wait. Because it's uncertain, and literally, like the past 2 weeks, it's been a roller coaster. It's been up, down, the news comes out, it goes up, news comes out, and goes down. So I would personally wait. However, what I will definitely suggest and advise personally as a strategist, as a financial financial planner, and since I've been in financing, is what I see is that people panicking. And I have, like, throughout this 2 weeks, people telling me, oh, my 401k been 15% down, it's been 40% down. And so my advice is definitely just wait, don't do anything. The best thing is that's just my personal opinion. And again, like, I've been through this crisis. I saw what happened. People panicking, of course, they're pulling money out and then they're losing the money. So the best thing is just to wait. If you know what you're doing, then you can wait and then see what would be the right moment to jump in. And there will be a lot of opportunities, a lot. But definitely just wait out and not to sell and not to panic. It's definitely not to panic. It's at this moment, this is the best strategy that you can do, is not to panic. Even actually today I had a couple of clients that were coming and was like, okay, what I should be doing with the 401k? So do not cash it out. Do not take the money out. As far as there was a lot of other questions.
So, for example, as a business owner, let's say, with group benefits, if I have staff, right now, that's the last thing they're thinking about. What do I do to maybe increase the morale for my team, especially in a time like this? Should we be doing any group benefits, life insurance, tax strategies? There are things that, in my belief, a business owner can start doing right now.
Exactly.
Because other people are looking away and they're panicking.
That's it.
And those that are trying to focus, they're actually going to be on the winning end once this whole thing blows over.
Right. And this is actually, this is actually a great topic. And in fact, I've been doing this with my team because, like, right now, everybody's panicking. So it's all this psychological effect, so people not thinking rationally. So right now, actually, it's the great time. Guys, there will be losses, but there will be great opportunities. So, and now if you actually take a step back and instead of panicking and looking and reading all the posts and watching all this news and hearing and dwelling on all of this, now it's actually a great time to actually sit down and see, okay, what can we do differently? What can we do today to take the opportunity of what's going on? How can we help people? How can we help businesses? How can we restructure our business? What can we do differently in our business? And these are actually the great moments, because just like you mentioned, when the times are good, we don't have time to we on the go. We just don't have time to breathe, to take care of ourselves, and definitely to innovate or do something different in the business. But now, since it's slowed down, actually maybe it's a great time actually to rebalance everything, to reevaluate the business situation and see what can you do differently. And in fact, it's interesting because this morning I was speaking to my clients, and one of my clients, she has a lot of different businesses. She has daycares. So she is like, okay, you know what? Now, first of all, I just want to take a couple of days and just sleep. It was like, she was so busy with all the businesses taking care of her that she forgot to take care of herself.
Right.
And then once you take care of yourself, okay, 1, 2, 3 days you sleep off, and which is normal, because look at it this way: if we go back to the airplane, what is the first thing they tell us to do in case of the emergency?
Put on your mask.
That's it. So now maybe it's a great time for those business owners who've been like running, is actually to take care of yourself, put a mask on yourself, and then with the fresh mind, with fresh focus, with the clarity, actually, okay, now let me get back to the business. What can I do different? And I was actually talking to her. She's like, okay, I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna start taking care of myself, and then I'm gonna start implementing different things. And then we're brainstorming, like, what can she do differently with the business? So those are like all great things to do. And I personally had a meeting with my employees on Monday. We were like, okay, thinking of all the different strategies, what we can do to help the businesses. And every business has something that they can do differently.
Absolutely. It's like, even if things get worse and we're told to actually be quarantined, well, I'm talking about like martial law type of a situation.
Yeah.
And my take on it is, even if you're physically required to be quarantined, just make sure your mind is not quarantined.
That's it. Yeah.
You have to take your downtime, which literally is a downtime,
Yes.
and make it an active time behind the scenes.
Yes.
Because I know you're a big fan of Tony Robbins, and I love his saying. He's like, you get praised in public for the things you do in private. So I personally know people that are quarantined, that have quarantined their minds already, and they're just sitting on Netflix, or they're doing mindless stuff while they're not allowed to leave the house or socialize, like keep that social distancing.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, the other winners that
That's
I know,
it. Yes.
yeah, they're required to stay away, or the business is slow or something, but they're actually diving into new areas of expertise in order to improve their business once this whole thing settles down.
Exactly.
Because eventually it will.
It will. Of course it will. There's always, to every upside, there's a downside. And now we're going through this downside. And then again, it's very interesting that you mentioned that, because if you look at the history, and if you look at the history if you look at the biography of successful people, during the downtime, this is the great actually time.
That's when they press forward.
Exactly, to actually press forward. I personally was waiting for this moment. I mean, not the tragic moment, not through the virus or anything, but I was personally, because I've been for this past years, I've been watching the economy. And it's actually interesting, because I went to the financial trip in February, and we were actually talking about all of this. They were actually teaching us about what's going to happen to the economy, because the economy was on very, very high level. So we go in the cycles. It goes up and it goes down. So they were anticipating this. Everyone was anticipating that something will happen. No one just knew that it will happen that way.
That fast.
Yeah, that fast. But now that it happened, so it's definitely not to panic, but just to take advantage of that. And maybe actually, it's a great time for those who didn't have time. I know, like, a lot of my clients, they tell me, oh, I don't have time to read, I don't have time to do. So now maybe even it's a great time to pick up a book that you were thinking of reading, some biography of successful people, and then actually see how they dealt with all the crises, and how they actually took advantages of all this crisis. And then also, I know a lot of my clients, since we started talking about this. Oh, and actually I wanted to say, since you were like mentioning Tony Robbins and everything, one of the great quote that I like that he says, and I live with that every day, that things happening not to you, but for you. So if you actually look at it like whatever is happening, it's not happening to you. It's happening for you. And then how can you take advantage of whatever is happening right now? It's not like reading and dwelling on all of this. And yes, of course, you need to take care of yourself, and I'm all for it. But then what can you do different? And a lot of my clients, when I came out with all this programs, the time management, goal setting, visualization, the money blueprint, there's like a lot of them downloaded, but no one ever actually did any exercises. Why? Because they never had time. And I was like, they tell me, oh, I don't have time. So now maybe actually it's a great time to sit down and to do these exercises and to do the online trainings.
Can we post the links in the comments?
Absolutely, yeah. We will definitely post the links for those of you who didn't get a chance to actually download. It's all available. It's available on rivkinuniversity.com, and we will post the link. It's all there for you for free. You can download. There's a time management guide. There's a goal setting time. Actually, goal setting, visualization. This is, I think, is the great thing to take advantage of right now, is to actually revisit your goals, is to set up the new goals.
And that's something, I'm sorry to interrupt, that's something people don't do or didn't do during the great times, because we were all so consumed in the hustle, in the growth.
Yes.
We weren't paying attention to things that actually matter before we were experiencing all that growth.
Right.
It's basically going back to the basics. That's what coaches say in sports.
That's it. Yes, going back to the basics, and this is the great time. It's like just start from the fresh page. Just open up the new book and start just creating your life, designing your life, and see what you can do different. See how you can take advantage of all these opportunities. Another thing what I would suggest is actually, it's a great time right now is to revisit your financial goals, is to recalculate your financial budget. It's actually a great time. I personally, I'll tell you that, I personally, now that my kids are home, everybody is home, on Sunday over the dinner, I said, okay guys, we have to, save money on utility, because I came home, it was like the whole house is lit up. I was like, okay, everyone is sitting in its own room and the lights are on. I said, you know what? You're not paying the bills. So we need to save on.
You need to be mindful.
Exactly.
But always, not just now.
Exactly.
You have to, and it's part of the self-discipline.
That's it.
When it comes to business, it's the same way. And I've been to enough events where I've heard big, major business moguls. We're talking about that are billionaires, and they always say it's not a matter of timing for self-discipline.
Right.
It's a matter of self-discipline where timing wins.
That's it. Yes.
Because self-discipline is an everyday thing.
Right.
Unfortunately, and I'm guilty of it myself, we only tune into the self-discipline, especially when it comes to finances, when times are getting tough.
When times are getting tough, right. So, but now since it is tough, so maybe it's a great idea to develop that habit and to actually start working on it. And this is a great way. And I'll tell you another thing. Yesterday I had another client for whom I did the financial planning. They came to me last year. So it's husband and wife. They have no kids. They're both making over 200,000, but they're full in debts. No kids. So then how come you have debts, you have no money saved up? And we did the financial planning. I did the financial planning for them. So they came to do the income tax, and then now that they came to the income tax, so they already he put away 19,000 towards 401k. She put away 19,000 towards 401k. So that was already last year. They paid off the debts. And he tells me, so now that we have that budget, and now that we follow that, he's like, oh my God, it's like all so easy. Mm-hmm. And it's just coming back to what you were saying. So because before it was just two of them. So like they were just spending money without being aware of where and what they're spending on. So now it's actually, with unfortunate circumstances, it would be actually a great time for you guys to sit down, to revisit all the financials, to recalculate all the numbers. If you need my help, then I can absolutely help you with that. You can reach out to me directly. You can reach out my office. We'll post the numbers and everything. And it's actually a great time to strategically plan right now. Because again, everybody was on the go, but now more than ever, you need this cash. Now more than ever, you need to go back to your finances and just recalculate and save whatever you can. So usually the tax planning, people do it whenever they come to do the income taxes.
Right.
So, but now actually it's a great time to prepare and see, okay, you know what's my income going to be this year? What can I already start doing differently to save on taxes? What can I already start doing differently to save, to put more towards pension, or to put whatever it is that you have your financial goal. So I think now would be the great and amazing time actually to revisit you with this whole family. Because no one is on the go, everyone is home, and I'm literally every day, like now we're having a dinner at home every day, and I'm like constantly with my kids. I was like, okay guys, you understand that for now the life is not going to be financially the same, because like we need to recalculate. Right. So these are like the great habits that you can actually start develop for yourself, and actually get your kids involved in this as well. And another thing, I do this with my kids, like they home, like, okay, I'm still working, you home. I said, okay, the cleaning lady is not coming. You have to clean, you have to cook. So like, give them sets of responsibilities. So like, these are the small things that you can actually start saving up on right now, build the good habits, and prepare yourself for the future and for all the opportunities that will be coming in.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we will post the links to the programs that Ella has. Those are free. You could download them. You're more than welcome to get the paid version, which is the full version of Training the Money Blueprint. But at least for now, you can go through the information. But I encourage you to go through it. Please do not download them if you're not going to use it.
Yeah.
Okay? Not for her sake, but for your sake. Use it, apply it, it works. It works in a good time and a bad time. It works. The bottom line is that it works. We'll post those links, and we'll also post the phone numbers for those that are new to this page. And if they're from New York, for the most part. By the way, guys, if you found value with those questions that are, pretty common questions today, please share this video with those people. You could do it on Facebook or wherever you're watching this. Share that video so they understand what's going on right now, from the government level all the way to the individual, with the financial relief funds, with the business loans, and all those things. Okay, so again, if you found value, please share it out, like and comment. If you have questions, if you have more questions for Ella, comment below this video, and we'll be sure to address those questions as well. Any final thoughts?
The final thoughts is stay healthy, stay safe. Don't dwell on all this social media stuff, that whatever's going on. Listen, I know a lot of people saying it's not real, some saying it's real, whatever it is, but in my opinion, what's real is the psychological effect that puts on everyone. This is what's real. And what's real is actually how you will act, and what are you actually gonna do. What's real is, are you gonna take advantage of all the opportunities that will be presented to you right now? And I get it, like some people might be thinking, oh, we're out of the job, or the businesses are closed, whatever it is. But then again, remember this, things not happening to you, things happening for you. So maybe it's actually because sometimes, a lot of the times, we actually want to do something, but we like scared, and sometimes we just need a push. Maybe this is your push. Maybe this is your time actually to start shining, to start creating, or start working on whatever you were planning to do. Actually, talking about this, my daughter, she always wanted like to start creating the videos. So, and now that she's staying home, so she started recording the cooking videos. So whatever it is that you were actually thinking on putting together, on working, so maybe actually it's a great time. So my last thought is just work on these opportunities, think of it, take advantage of all of this, and then if you need and take advantage of all the revisit your financial situation. I'm here, we're here at the RPS group to help you to get through this financial crisis, and whatever we can do, we're here for you. And if you actually if you're eligible to apply for the loans, my suggestion would be to apply for it, even if it's a painful process, even if you have to go through all these applications. Listen, if you can get cheap money, then why not? If you can get hand of all these resources and leverage it, why not? And we're here. We help you. We will help you with all the financials, with the tax returns, whatever it is that you need. You can reach out to us, and we're here to help you.
Can we answer a couple of questions?
Yes, we can answer questions. We get questions.
We have a question.
Yes.
Is this time a good time to start a business? I'm talking about a takeaway food and catering service. So in regards to food, meaning like if somebody, that's actually a good question, interesting question. If more people are staying home, they will require more takeout, more deliveries. So is this a good time right now to start a business in the food industry?
I mean, again, what exactly do they need to start the business in the food industry? I mean, if you want just to actually jump in and do the deliveries, if you have certain restaurants that you're working with, and if you want to offer the services, then yes, why not? Of course, because that actually would be a great time. People are scared to get out, and they do need to eat, so that would be a great time for the delivery. I mean, I know I personally order from Costco and Whole Foods, and when we ordered on Sunday, they said that they're only going to deliver it in a week. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I would assume it would be a great time to do this.
Yeah, I think so too, because takeout food is great during good economies and bad economies. The only thing you have to watch out for, which is going to be temporary anyway, if you're mandated to shut down by the government or state government, state officials, but that's only going to last, so long. Maximum, we're talking about a month, just to make sure they cut off the spread of the virus. But other than that, I think it's a great idea.
It's a great idea. Listen, again, if there is no cost involved for you, I mean, as far as like investing money into some kind of business venture, I mean, I would actually, before making any kind of decision, I would actually weigh everything. Right, cost analysis. But if you just want to be part of the delivery, and it's not actually only in the restaurants, Costco, the Whole Foods, any kind of supermarkets, yes, it's a good business. Yes, to do the deliveries. Yes, it's a great business.
Guys, thanks so much. If you're watching this on a replay, please ask your questions in the comments, and I promise you, Ella will address them. Thanks so much. Be safe.
Thank you so much.
Be wise and be active.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, stay safe, stay healthy, and remember, guys, it's all in your hands. Thank you for watching.